Hello,
Mhm.
welcome to the Wave Matrix. We are a partner of Wave Genome, and Wave Genome is a frontier in bringing new quantum information wave technology to the people. And today we are talking to Irene, the owner and founder of Wave Genome, and it's an honor to talk to you. And hello, maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about your technology, what is special about it, and why everybody should use it.
Very nice to have you as the distributor of my company. And my company is engaged in the quantum leap. And quantum leap is the new technological order of reality. And it is concerned with the application of quantum physics to all kinds of human activities, to all sides of human life, from agriculture, industry, to medicine, biology, and even the nature of human being fully um, allowing to realize human abilities. So it is not just about utility, it is about the new kind of man who fully has psychic abilities, so the access to the quantum non-locality. A person, Superman, who can control biosystems, geophysical processes, and climate just by the power of his brain activity. And this power lies within the man, so it cannot be given to the man from outside. So the major mistake of transhumanists lies in the misunderstanding of this fact. They think that man can be given a certain switch, and if you press this switch, man can acquire immortality, they say. Man can get rid of pain. He can become, she can become successful and realize full potential, become happy, and get rid of diseases and etc. And this is a big mistake, because this is just gross misunderstanding of quantum physics, of science. So transhumanism is just a mistaken view. It is anti-scientific view, and it is just a shame that Google hired Ray Kurzweil, a transhumanist, who simply doesn't understand quantum science. And it is a shame that Western industry, is guided and owned by people who do not understand quantum physics. For example, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. For example, Elon Musk says that humans have brains that are feline in comparison with the machine. And this just, this is maybe funny, but it is also very sad, because these people own great material resources, and what they're doing is simply wasting our material resources on fake, um, false, mistaken science. According to quantum non-locality, universe is entirely in its every matrix point. This is called the holographic principle. And according to this principle, humans are these matrix points. And matrix points are unique, because the universe is entirely in its every matrix point. This means that every matrix point is not simply different from any other matrix point, but is unique. So every matrix point, and matrix point is a scientific notion of the higher mathematics. So every matrix point is both unique and local. So the question, how can I know this, right? So this is the major difference between me and Elon Musk. So I know this truth as the a priori truth. So the truth given before the empirical experience. So you can call this truth Christianity, the highest form of initiation, or the revelation, right? But this is the a priori truth, right?
It's coming to the religious question, more or less. Because it's coming to the religious question because they approach is more or less atheistic, as they ignore the supreme truth, as the one truth behind everything. And this is is a problem because.
Well, you see, and this is not simply the notion of the religious belief. This is not simply the religious belief. This is precisely the quantum physics. So as soon as you realize, right, that you are a matrix point, you are the matrix point, you see? So as soon as you are given this notion in your mind becomes identical to the notion of which the mind is thinking right now. This was spoken about by Aristotle. And Aristotle was a Russian philosopher, and not many people in the West realize this. He was Macedonian, and Macedonians didn't even speak Greek. Alexander the Great and his father Philip, they didn't speak Greek. They spoke Serbian, and Macedonia is a part of Serbia, and Serbia in ancient times was called Rushka. So they spoke Russian, and Serbians, even till now, they speak Russian. So the language and the written language of Serbians is very close to Russian, and Russian is the most archaic form of the most archaic language on this planet, Sanskrit. So Aristotle spoke about the identity of thought with its object. So the identity of thought with the object of thought. So if you think about boots, right, or cigarettes, your mind is literally identical to the wave structure of the boots and of the cigarettes, because everything in this world, in reality, is energy. 93% is pure energy, waves, and 7% is particles, which are congested energy. So this energy exists in the form of holograms, which are wave crystals. And wave crystals is not a poetic term. It's a very precise scientific term. It means the crystalline structure made from waves, wave fronts. And wave crystals, these crystalline structures, they have refraction like regular crystals. And the focus of these crystalline structures, which is called in quantum physics the zero center. So this is all the notions either of higher mathematics like matrix or of quantum physics. So this notion of the identity of the mind with this object of thought is a precisely notion of quantum physics. This is just objective reality. There is no lyrics, poetry, or metaphor about it. So if you think about something, your mind literally acquires the wave structure, the crystalline structure, the holographic structure of the object that you are thinking about. So if you are capable of thinking about infinity, right, your mind acquires precisely the holographic structure of the infinity. You see? So if you are able of actually thinking of infinity, your mind becomes capable of becoming identical with the infinity. And the nature of the holograms lies in the fact that holograms have the entire universe inside. So each hologram has the infinite number of waves, particles, and fields. And every hologram has the infinite wave, which has the infinity in space and time. So the hologram is non-local. This is what means non-local. And non-locality implies uniqueness, as I said. And I formulated this implication of the holographic principle in August 2012. I will repeat it because it's very important. If the universe is entirely in its every matrix point, this means that every matrix point is not simply different from any other matrix point, but is unique. So every matrix is both non-local and unique. And if you are capable of thinking of these things, your mind objectively, not subjectively, not metaphorically, but objectively becomes identical with infinity, which is holographic. So if Elon Musk says that his mind is feline in comparison with machines, so he is feline. So he just accepted that he is inferior, you see, to machines. He is identical to lower animals. And according to Aristotle, so his classification of humans, people who are not capable of thinking of the infinity, these people are natural slaves. They're animals. So Elon Musk just accepted that he's a natural slave and he's the lower animal, and he's incapable of the higher mathematics, of quantum physics, and he's just incapable of functioning as a normal human, as a man, proper man, Cro-Magnon man. That his is a Neanderthal, and they are not simply accepting the fact that they are Neanderthals. They also behave as Neanderthals. For example, Peter Thiel, he takes shots of blood from a teenager into his system. And he simply doesn't understand quantum physics. He doesn't understand that he actually takes the holograms of other people, right, of other matrices, right, and he plugs this unique information, which is infinite, into his system, literally breaking the wave optics of his chromosomes. He doesn't understand this. And it is even impossible to explain this to him, because both Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, they're simply incapable of understanding quantum physics, as they themselves accept. And it is possible to actually try explaining this to Peter Thiel only via simple, very simple things, like explaining to a child in the kindergarten. So to Peter Thiel, it is only possible to say that there is such thing as RNA interference. And RNA interference is discovered by Mello and Fire in 1998, and they were given Nobel Prize in 2006 for the discovery of RNA interference, and they tested C. elegans, it's a worm, and they took RNA genetic material from the worm and fed it back to the worm, and this caused the complete breaking of worms' genetics. So high protein diet, right? Consumption of human blood, or taking organs or human blood from the other human beings is dangerous. It's lethally dangerous.
Also no blood transfer. It's not recommended to use blood transfers or to...
Yes. According to this experiment, it's proven, you see, that RNA interference, any plugging in of alien, genetic material, wave optics of the other human being or the other living being,
this is
leads to the breaking of the genetics.
Is even with animals? Also, if I take in the blood and the RNA of animals, like if I eat meat, is the same, or with the plants? How is it with the plants?
Yes, with animals, it's proven also. There were two very extensive experiments in the United States with high protein diet. And it was proven then that high protein diet leads to cancer. And cancer is precisely the breaking of the wave optics in chromosomes. And this breaking of the wave optics in chromosomes leads to the fact that chromosomes, they do not get the focus of the wave crystals of holograms, so that they don't get information when the cells divide. The cells do not get information of how to actually build themselves up. That's why they create some kind of structures that are not healthy, that lead to destruction of the host.
Okay, let's come back now to your technology, what it actually do in this part, because from my understanding, this brings back or helps your it focuses this information coming in. So it helps actually to make your cells divide correctly and build all your system back in the right way. So what I understand.
Yes, precisely. Oh, you see, I created the theory of wave optics in chromosomes. It is my theory, and I explained why the functional species and functional individuals have the same gene that get manifested via the metacentric chromosome. And dysfunctional species and dysfunctional individuals have this the same gene manifested via acrocentric chromosome. And metacentric chromosome is the symmetrical chromosome, which precisely the realization of the properly centered and focused hologram wave crystal, which is similar to our eye with the wave optics and the processes of refraction to the zero center of this crystalline wave structure. And acrocentric chromosome is asymmetrical chromosome, which is similar to the nearsighted or far-sighted eye. So this chromosome is simply lack the center, the focus. It's not centered, it's not focused. So it does not see. You see, it does not get the information from the quantum non-locality during cell division. And this quantum non-locality, which is the quantum physics term, in biology becomes the biological quantum non-locality. And I was the first scientist who offered the term biological quantum non-locality. And what my company is doing, we are creating the devices, right, which are similar to lenses. So when your eyes do not see properly, right, they are far-sighted and nearsighted, you use the lens, right, that helps you to properly center and focus the information, the signal, right, from the outside. So the chips that we are making, we are producing, are similar to lenses that help our chromosomes to focus and get centered and focused during cell division. And they help to restore the polarity in the dipole molecules of water. We consist of water for almost 95%. And the nature of holograms is based upon electromagnetism. And we are actually electric and chemical batteries. And the electricity in our system has magnetism, and our nerve signals and our blood are moving in our systems only due to magnetism. You see, and if magnetism is destroyed, violated by any kind of too strong external signals that literally dissolve polarity in dipole polarity in the water molecules, we stop functioning. And holograms, they have not just two poles, they have multiple poles of the torus. And because of polarity, the signal doesn't go through the biohologram, but is reflected upon itself. And the peak of the forward-going wave is nullified by the trough of the same wave when it is reflected upon itself. So because of the reflection of the signal upon itself, we get the scalar wave, so-called standing wave. And it doesn't produce any kind of energy. Vice versa, it nullifies any external signal. And as a result, we get diffraction grating. And this diffraction grating goes smaller, smaller, and smaller degrees if the signal is very strong. And because of this scalar wave diffraction grating, we get the process of refraction of any incoming signal towards the zero center of the wave crystal. And polarity is due to the change in the spin. So electrons are not particles. There are no particles. These are simply the metaphor. Electrons are the change of the spin. So the spin goes like this and then changes the spin, and the change of the spin is interpreted as another particle. But it's not a particle, it's simply the change of the spin. That's why the ancient symbol of swastika, right? It's the perfect symbol of the quantum leap technologies, because it literally shows the change of the spin, the reflection of the signal upon itself, and the possession of the biohologram of all the signals in the world, the infinite number of particles, fields, and waves, frequencies, from the infinitely large to the infinitely small. So as above, as below applies also to the unity of macrocosm and microcosm. So the same laws apply to the macrocosm as the laws that apply to microcosm. And the point is to restore the ability of our chromosomes to produce, you see, this focus, the zero center, by the restoration of the polarity. And that is why we apply the material, the certain material for the production of the chips. And this material is of electret nature, and electrets are kinds of permanent magnets. And the difference between magnets and electrets lies in the fact that you can actually change the refraction in the wave optics inside the spinor or the spin vortex torsion structures, scalar wave structures inside the biohologram. So you can actually code the refraction inside the electret during its transformation from the liquid state to the solid state. For example, wax in the church, it is the electret. So you can take liquid wax and apply thought matrices during the process of producing the candle. And you can actually instill your thought matrix into the electret during the production of wax candles. And when the believer in the church takes this wax candle and burns it, the thought matrix in the candle
is relieved.
It's based upon the believer. It is not the religion, it is simply quantum physics, which is applied in the Christian church, because the Christian church is the heir of our ancient antediluvian science of giants, which had the civilization, quantum leap civilization, much more advanced than the civilization of feline-brained Peter Thiel and Elon Musk.
Yeah, this was the as this was basically the reason I came up, or I found you, because I was researching our true history in some way, and I had like an intuitive feeling or a signal coming that I have to watch towards Russia. And somehow I start searching in direction of Russia, and then I found you somehow, and then I received your understandings, and I was reading your what you and watching your videos, and I was like, oh, this is making sense, because from my spiritual background, I'm a yogi, familiar with the Vedic scriptures, and until now the science and all the things was not fitting with this uh, Vedic cosmology, So, but now you came up with a scientific approach to exactly the same things, and it makes totally sense because both meet each other. This is a really nice feeling at the end, because at the end it has to meet each other and it had become one, because everything is one and you cannot divide these kind of things. So yeah, and so I got more interested in this, and at the end I finally purchased one of your devices to try myself, but because and for my son, and my personal experience was really intense, because I start wearing this device, and I was always when I was driving with the car or going outside in the city, and I was like feel like sucked out of energy, and I'm meditating every day, and I feel I'm familiar with the feeling when you are really well with the energy field, and you are charging your field, and it's really nice. And I had the same feeling in the first day wearing this device, just coming from a long trip with the car where I normally feel really bad, and I was walking in the park and I was thinking, oh, what is wrong? Because if I was feeling this energy flow like when I was meditating, and it was really, really nice and strange to feel really well after this trip and to have the same feeling just without meditating. And this made me give a really, the feeling was getting less over time, because I think you get used to it, and I then had only the same or a negative feeling when I was giving this to my son to wear it, and I didn't use for some days. I was feeling like I'm like you feel the negative effect because you are used to the positive effect. And yeah, from my personal experience, I can say there is a strong impact, and yeah, so there is something to it, and the theory behind all this makes all sense to me from my personal understanding of the universe and everything. And I'm really happy to to found these kind of things, because and now I'm trying to help you to distribute this to more people, because I think it's the solution to a lot of problems, and it will protect us maybe from a lot of things. Maybe you can go into this, because I was reading also your articles in this socialist factor you write, and there you are talking about a really dark future, more or less, when you say, and a lot of people are aware that there are bad things happening in the world, and there are a lot of bad influence from some certain people, and they have an agenda too, and the people are preparing for something, for the Third World War too. I don't know, but what can we do to prepare with this kind of technology, to help you, as you were mentioning in some point that you doing like you are like saving the holograms of the healthy beings, healthy animals, healthy plants. You're doing like for me was like an ark, like Noah's ark. You preparing somehow to keep this safe. If we get a genetic collapse, or I don't know what happened, that we have something. And I wanted to help you with this somehow, and how we can help you to on how we can prepare for what is coming, what you recommend.
You know, you gave me right now an idea, great idea. Right now, what's going on is the elites, right? Like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, backed by the bankers. They think that they will be able to escape the damage that they produced by their wrong social system to the environment and to the people, to the humans. And they will not be able to escape. They made great damage, which is irreversible in the West as of right now. And any ways of solution, of escaping this damage that they produced, that they are offering, will not work. Right now, what is going on is genetic collapse. And collapse is caused by wrong science, wrong understanding of the nature of the universe. They not only produce genetically modified organisms, they also offer right now medicine based upon RNA interference. And there is the scientist in Russia by the name of Irina Vladimirovna Yermakova. She is PhD in biology. And she had experiments with the mice. She fed mice with the genetically modified soy. And she found out that if you feed mice with genetically modified soy, only the female, their offspring becomes sterile in the third generation. And if you feed both female and male mice with genetically modified soy, their offspring becomes sterile in the second generation. And in the United States of America, 80% of food is genetically modified organism. Human generation is 25 years. So this means that in 50 years from now, people in the United States, and they account to maybe 98% of population, consume genetically modified organism. The population will be sterile. So the entire population of the United States will be sterile. Genetically modified organisms, they are in all kinds of food, not just in fast food, not just in vegetables, fruits. This genetically modified biological material is everywhere. From
you cannot hide, you know.
to wine, to produce, everywhere. And only 2% of population, approximately, right? These 2% who have 98% of national wealth in the United States, they can actually afford organic food. But even those...
Yeah, they are also polluted with this kind of...
Yes, precisely. Even those in the United States, in Europe, in all so-called developed Western countries, all these people who eat organic food, they will not be able to escape because those countries which produce genetically modified food, they create the areas of genetic contamination. So all these broken chromosomes, they are distributed by groundwaters, by pollen, by insects, by manure of animals. So there is no coming back. So as soon as the country starts producing genetically modified organisms, the country is automatically the area of genetic contamination, genetic collapse. And these countries include United States, Great Britain, France, Germany, Canada, Australia, Italy. So unfortunately, you see, there will be no population, no Europeans, no Americans, no population living in these countries. And they hope, the elites, they hope that they will be able to cope with this problem via synthetic embryo and via cyborgs. But both these ideas are based upon false science. They will not be able to produce synthetic embryos, and they will not be able to produce cyborgs. It is impossible according to quantum physics, because you cannot add something external, you see, into the hologram based upon precise wave optics. The idea of producing cyborgs is the same as, for example, you take something external and trying to put into your eye.
No, it will not work. But to come back to my question, what we can do to, I cannot. The truth is, I cannot find food without this. I cannot hide from this. What I can do to make the effect, to protect my family, my children. What I can do. Can we do something, or we are totally lost?
What we can do? People who live in so-called developed Western countries, they should eat organic. They should escape genetically modified food. They should try avoiding genetically modified food. If they eat genetically modified food, nobody and nothing will be able to save them. I'm sorry. So if they want to escape, they need to move to Russia. In Russia, it is forbidden to grow genetically modified food. So Russia will survive. I'm sorry. But Europe, Great Britain, Australia, Canada, United States, the population will be all sterile. And 50 years, the total sterility of the population. No children whatsoever. And I would say in 10 years, 15 years, the genetics will be so broken that people will be totally sick and they will be mentally retarded. So they will be ugly as hell, sick, in constant pain, and they will be delusional. And look at Elon Musk. He's already delusional, saying that we are feline in comparison with machines is just delusional. What we can do besides avoiding genetically modified food, we need to create bioholograms in the specific media that would allow us preserving the wave matrices, holograms in this dimension. So if you have the digitized biohologram, you can actually turn back the process, reverse the process of destruction. If you have technology, you have specific devices that are capable of creating holographic signal, you can use the stored information, the digitized bioholograms, to actually reverse the destruction, to restore the centering and the focus in the bioholograms wave crystals of the chromosome. This is precisely what my company is doing. We can actually store this information, right, in different places.
No, we need to do a blockchain with these holograms, because then it cannot. It's impossible to erase because it's everywhere. Also, we will do like art in this blockchain. And I was exactly thinking of this, and I transmitted this, I think, in the moment I will start to talk about this. Because this, I think, is a perfect use case for this kind of new computer technology. And it's impossible to erase when a lot of people store this. And so, okay, we'd have to avoid totally gene-modified food, but even if I'm living in Paraguay right now, and they produce a lot of gene-modified soy here, and so is polluted a lot, I think. And it's really difficult to find organic food. I have to grow myself, but I'm able to protect myself just by eating organic food, because all the soil and everything is contaminated or not. It's like this energy field of this broken matrix is radiating out. It's it's not enough to just eat organic food in or is it enough? And to wear your device to slow down the destruction, or what is the best thing I can do right now to prevent, also, except from eating organic food?
Well, this will not go like this forever. It will it will end very fast. So
Yeah.
those people who apply this technology, they will be able simply to survive.
To survive as long as is necessary.
Yes. So because others will get destroyed very fast. So those who apply this technology, they will be able to survive and to actually reverse the destruction.
Okay.
And the war will be precisely for Russian children. So Russia will continue rejecting the genetically modified food, and in the West, the population will get sterilized, and they will try to create synthetic embryo, but because RNA interference is, as I said, harmful, it's proven, it's a biological binary weapon, they will find out they will not be able to create a synthetic embryo. Then they will try to create cyborgs, and they will find out that it's not possible to create cyborgs precisely because of the quantum physics of wave optics. So you cannot just take some part, right? Get them into some system.
No, this is ridiculous for me as well.
Make it fit into this holographic universe. Only holograms can fit in the holographic universe, and you cannot create a hologram because hologram is uncreated and indestructible. So when transhumanists they say that they will make me eternal, they're just simply stupid.
Yeah, this is ridiculous because we are. It's like,
I'm already eternal, I'm already uncreated, and I'm already indestructible. So it's not possible to create bioholograms. They're eternal. So the only thing that we can do, we can record these bioholograms in this dimension so that we can actually enter this dimension to do something inside this dimension.
okay, so we have to think about this blockchain idea, because this is exactly what I wanted to ask you already, I don't know how many weeks, months ago. And okay, we prepare ourselves with trying to eat as much organic food we can. And another question, what kind of food? Also, vegan, vegetarian, meat? I don't have to ask because for me this is clear. But what kind of food you recommend? What is your understanding of the food thing? Because there's a lot of if raw food or vegan food, vegetarian food, what is the right food for us? Or it's different for everybody? I don't know. So it's a big question in the people right now.
So we can avoid RNA interference. It is scientifically proven that RNA interference is a binary weapon. So any high protein diet, so any animal proteins that are very close genetically to our own chromosomes, they are very harmful. So you should avoid any kind of animal proteins, milk, cheese, meat, eggs, fish.
As a vegan.
So vegan diet, so the food should be as far removed from our own RNA, because otherwise there will be RNA interference, and these animal proteins they interfere with our own genetic material, our own genetics, and they literally shuts down our own unique genetic production, genetic apparatus. And also you can eat cooked food. And I myself, I was a raw vegan for many, many years. But then I realized that our ancestors, they were able to preserve the high intellect of their antediluvian giant ancestors with their antediluvian megalithic civilization destroyed by the last global war, approximately 14,000 BC. Because our ancestors, Cro-Magnons, proper humans, they were cooking their food on fire. So when you cook your food, right, or when you blend your food in mixers, right, you literally destroy the genetic material of the foods that you eat. So this actually helps you avoid RNA interference.
Also you
so
have to mix, and you have
Yes,
to use a gas fire cooker.
Yeah, you can blend it or you can cook it. You can eat raw food that is very far removed from you, like plants, grains, and you should do it on fire, but not in the microwave, because
of course, this is not a question for me.
They literally did not simply break, right, genetic material. They actually transform this genetic material into the harmful structures.
Okay, I have to ask another thing about the milk, because in the Vedic society, also in India, and also milk is really important thing from a healthy organic cow, also your own cow, maybe, also to have some milk products is really a big part in the society of this Vedic times. You know, why they use the milk when it's not good, or I don't, or there are
You see,
some.
when I was a baby in the Soviet Union, right, we always boiled water and we always boiled milk. So our ancestors, they boiled milk. They boiled milk. Yes, they boiled milk. By boiling, they destroyed bacteria and viruses in the milk, and that's why they were capable of avoiding pandemics. So you should always boil the milk.
And the cheese is when is or
it's boiled milk. Yes, cheese is boiled milk basically.
Okay. Okay, let's do, this was the food question. Another question is now how is the right way of living, where and how. Also I had already this, also I understand this holographic thing already some way, that the geometric structure is really important, and you have this idea of these matrix cities. And I want to have a matrix city in Paraguay or a small community like with dome houses. Also I understand already that the dome shape is the perfect shape to live in. And the structure of the city has to be in circular shape, or this kind of and what can we do to do the right way of living, also to help us and not, right now I'm living in the city and I'm not good with this. I want to buy some land outside again in the forest and build my own dome house to have the best possible living condition for my family and my children. And what you can say to the other parts of the living, also except the food. You know? what is helpful? Also what is helpful? Except to use this technology you provide, but what else is easy to achieve? And if you do it right, you help a lot yourself to be good. You know? So.
yes, the dome structures, right? They are the structures that preserve the proper wave optics. And the sense of wave optics is precisely that the signal needs to get reflected upon itself to create the scalar wave diffraction grating. And only in this scalar wave diffraction grating you get a refraction towards the zero center of this wave crystal. And you can do it via simple means. So doing what? Creating the holographic signal. And when you get this holographic signal, you can actually treat yourself, you can cure yourself from diseases, you can also get your own information from quantum non-locality, because you are indestructible and uncreated, and your own unique refraction code is written in the quantum non-locality, this all unity, all love field in the universe. And you can also control in a positive way, not in the destructive way. You can control their physical processes and climate if you are capable of creating the holographic signal. So because the universe is holographic, you can record and transmit only holographic information. So our ancestors, they had more complicated ways of producing these holographic signals and simple ways of producing this.
Okay, I'm interested in the simple ways.
Yes, and because the universe is holographic, right? As I said, it applies to all sides of reality and all dimensions, from macro dimensions to micro dimensions. So the same laws govern the chromosome as the laws that govern the universe. And the simple way is to control the geometrical optics, the wave optics. These are physical terms, physical notions, geometrical wave optics of the space where you are living.
And give a simple example that the people.
I need to put the. Sorry, just hold on. I need to put the. So you can do it simple way, because as I said, the universe is holographic all the way through. So you can do it not only via lasers, you can do it simple way. And the most simple way is to build dome houses. And in 1965, Soviet Union communists, they had experiments in Moscow. In the Kalinin area of Moscow, they researched maternity wards, maternity hospitals, and Russian Orthodox churches. And they found out that maternity hospitals, where women give birth, right, are completely contaminated with horrible viruses and bacteria, staphylococcus and streptococcus, which are not cleanable. You see, you cannot clean.
I noticed.
These bacteria and viruses. And Russian Orthodox churches, they are completely clean. They do not have any viruses and bacteria, though crowds of very sick people come there every day. And this is precisely because the structure of the church, Russian church, Orthodox church, the structure is sacred. It's built based upon understanding of the holographic nature of the universe. And the structure is similar to the womb of the mother. And it's not for nothing that the womb of the mother, right, has this shape. And when the pandemics was approaching Russia, Russians were ringing the bells. And though the entire Europe was depopulated by Black Plague in the Middle Ages,
Yep.
Russia never had plague. This is amazing. So this works. And Russians preserved this matriarchal system, technology, from the antediluvian time, from before the flood, from the megalithic civilization of giants to nowadays. And you can build the house, dome-structured house. You can use in the house, you can use the bells. And
also like this sound balls here, this Tibetan sound balls or something similar.
Sound balls and small bells and the large bells. I have the whole collection. I will show you. And in Russia, we have the scientist in St. Petersburg who treats Gnezdilin, his name. He is the prime of Rosicrucians in St. Petersburg, an old guy, very nice guy. So he applies bells in treating cancer patients successfully. So I have.
Okay. And how often I have to do this? Every day in the morning, or how?
I do it every day in the morning, in the evening.
Okay.
I changed my. Actually, I'm in the process of changing the crowns because I put veneers, and they took the former crowns and put these sticks into my jaw. Yeah. To keep the gums right in the proper shape, and because they screw this sticks, so how we call the screws, into the jaw, it was horrible pain, and I really cry, or maybe don't cry ever. So I came home and I know about this guy. I visited him in St. Petersburg with his bells. And I had these bells from quartz, small bells. And I took these bells, 2 bells. They are smaller than this, so these are bigger bells. And I rang these bells, and it took me maybe 15 minutes to get rid of pain. So this is amazing. So it works. I tried it on myself, and I completed Food for Healthy because of these technologies, and I don't have pain. So this was a chance to try on myself. And this is a Russian production. It's made from quartz, real mountain quartz. Okay. So we are not talking about specific frequencies. This is what they don't understand in the West. We are not talking about frequency. We are talking about wave optics. So to create the holographic signal, you need to have at least some high frequency and some low frequency, so that you can actually get this diffraction grating. So low frequency and high frequency, so you get this grid for reflection. But the bells, they create the whole range. The whole range.
The whole spectrum.
The whole spectrum, right? The whole spectrum of the frequencies because of the shape of the bell. So you need to have this shape. It is not, this distance not equal. So this is one resonator, this is another resonator, this is the third kind of resonator. So every segment of the bell creates specific frequency. And this set of frequencies, they create the grid of the diffraction grating when these signals get reflected upon themselves.
Okay.
So the shape of the bell is very important. The precisely the change of the levels of the resonators, and the same is true of helmets of our ancestors. There is a scientist, Barchenko, who before the Soviet Union revolution, the Bolshevik Soviet revolution in 1917, he had experiments with Russian helmets. And the helmets have precisely the same shape.
Yeah.
I have a helmet, big helmet from the crystal also there, the big one, the crystal one. So he found out that helmets greatly increase psychic abilities, precisely because of this principle. And our ancestors, they elongated the skulls. There are these famous crystal skulls, and in the West they say that they are the alien skulls. But in reality, they are not. These are not alien skulls. Our ancestors, they elongated the skulls, and this is proven by the mummies exhibited in Archaim. Archaim is our Bronze Age settlement in southern Europe, and they found the mummies there. So because this is the area of the very stable geological plate, Western Siberia and Southern Europe. And there are at least 30 megalithic cities there with megalithic pyramids. And it's very important to find out who built these pyramids.
Yeah, but
because those people, they have heirs, descendants. And these descendants might remember the quantum leap technologies of this highly developed antediluvian civilization of giants who lived on the smaller planet with a smaller gravitation in megalithic cities with megalithic pyramids. So they were digging and dug out the mummy. And this mummy was a very tall woman, like 3 meters high or higher. And she has very elongated skull, like this. And it's on the internet, everybody can Google it. And when they unearthed this mummy, they thought that it is an alien. But then they checked DNA, and DNA was Russian, R1A1 haplogroup. So these are our direct ancestors. And the mummy, right, had this very elongated skull. So our ancestors, they were aware of this. So it is not kind of a fairy tale. It's real. So they are aware of these technologies. So they were using dome structures. They were using helmets. They were using bells on the constant basis. Not only churches, they lived in the buildings which were built as a dome structures. And they were aware that if you live in the dome-structured house, you are capable of controlling biosystems and geophysical processes. So everything you want, you put immediately into the quantum non-locality in the noosphere.
It's like,
which is not
it's like materialization. What the
yes. And they put figures of animals and plants and humans on the walls. Because they were doing like a voodoo kind of control of the environment.
Yeah, but in a positive way, not in a
In a
negative
positive way, because these technologies cannot be used for harm. So people who think that they can be, these technologies can be used for harm, they simply don't understand quantum non-locality. They don't understand that quantum physics is the highest form of spirituality. It's not religion.
Yeah, okay,
It's a high religion.
This is a good bridge to the next question. What is is a spiritual question, because it's about the scriptures, also the Vedic scriptures, and especially now the Russian Vedic scriptures. I don't know, also these black books. Also, what is your opinion about these? Also these all believers in Russia, or this kind of things? You are Russian. You have more direct access to this kind of things, and I would have your opinion on this.
You are also Russian.
Yeah, I know, and my wife as well. We are really, really Russian. I'm Sak.
Every human, real human, Cro-Magnon, in this dimension is Russian. In 17th century, the spies of Vatican, Romanov, the future emperors of Russia, their true name is Koshkin. Koshkin is feline, by the way. They rewrote our historical manuscripts and have changed the name of our people. We are not Slav. Yeah. There is no such thing as Slav or Slavic.
Yeah, and this is the question, because one of these Vedic things is like called the Russian, no, it's called Slavic Vedic scriptures, and this is
the fact that these are fake. These are fake. People who don't understand this, they simply enemies of our people. And our people are not white, blue-eyed, blonde. We are humans. To be Russian is to be human in this dimension. This is what Russian means. And Romanov, Koshkin, they changed the name of our people by dropping the letter K. So we were Sklavin, Skalot, in Arab sources Sakaliba, from a Russian word for falcon, Sakal. So we are the same Sak as Anglo-Saxons and German Saxons, and they are the same Russians, because this falcon was called Rarok. This was the fiery falcon, firebird. In Russian tales or legends, it's called Finist, Yasna, Sokol. Finist is phoenix, Yasna pure, and Sokol is the falcon. So Griffon, dragon, firebird, basilisk is precisely this firebird which comes into this dimension from the absolute light, the light that doesn't cast the shadow. And this light was called Ra. And we brought this cult of Ra to Egypt and to India. That's why in India we have Ravi, which is sun, and Jesus Christ was called Ravi. So Ra in Egypt and India comes back to Russia, and the major river in Russia, Volga, is called Ra. It was called Ra in the ancient times. That's why we Russians, we say Ura, Ura. We yell Ura, Ura. So Ura.
Yeah, we Germans do the same. We say this as well. Hurrah.
Hurrah.
But also if this Slavic Vedic scriptures are fake, which are the right, the real ones? Also they would have knowledge and the right teaching of our ancestors. What you recommend to read? What is a good source?
There is this poem written by Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin. Alexander Pushkin. He was a a poet, a great Russian poet. By the way, he was Ethiopian in origin, believe it or not. I had a friend when I was young, and after the collapse of Soviet Union, I had a friend. She was vice consul of South African Republic, a Dutch woman, Lida van Dijk. She was my close friend in the 1990s in Russia, in St. Petersburg. And when she found out that the greatest poet of Russia was black, she was just shocked. And she was living in the major hotel in St. Petersburg, European, the luxury, posh hotel, right across the street from Russian Museum, which is the imperial palace of Russian Tsars. Beautiful place, beautiful palace. And in front of this palace, right between the palace and this hotel where she lived, was is the monument to Alexander Pushkin. And she's black, he's black. He is a grandson of the black guy, Ethiopian guy, who was adopted in Russia. And he was given a Russian wife, aristocratic, very beautiful Russian wife, and he was a grandson, Pushkin was grandson of a black guy from Africa. So he is the greatest poet of Russia, and this Alexander Pushkin, he recorded a poem that he heard from his nanny, Russian nanny. And the name of the poem is Ruslan and Lyudmila. So according to the expertise of Russian scientists who are specifically engaged in the research of the Vedic culture of Russia that is identical to Vedic culture of India. So according to this expertise, for example, Svetlana Vladimirovna Zharnikova, she was a PhD specifically engaged in this research. So according to her expertise, this poem, Ruslan and Lyudmila, is a more archaic form of Ramayana, you see. And in the vicinity of Moscow, there are 30 rivers that are identical to the rivers in
the Vedics, in the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata, yes. So 30 rivers in the vicinity of Moscow. It's a Oka basin, river basin. So 30 rivers around Moscow are identical to rivers in Mahabharata. And in Kola Peninsula, there are 3 rivers, Aryan, Sura, and Allah. And the entire territory of Russia is covered with the rivers Sura, Aryan, and Allah. And Ra and Arya is the same thing.
So, bring to the point, the Vedic scriptures of India, as Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, is in true Russian Vedic scripture. Is this true, or
yes,
is this wrong?
Yes, it's true. And our legends, so-called fairy tales, right? They are more ancient than Vedas.
Yeah, of course.
And if you want to actually get knowledge of the quantum leap technologies, you should read Russian fairy tales.
Yeah,
Russian legends.
Okay.
The only Russian legends preserved quantum leap technologies. For example, they are speaking about the carpet that is flying.
Yeah.
They are also speaking about the tablecloth that gets food emerging from it. Also, they are speaking about the hat that makes you
invisible.
Invisible. Only Russian fairy tales. No other nation in the world have these things in the legends.
Okay. My next question I wanted to ask is about how far is your kind of technology from producing or from use in free energy area? As it like to take the energy for light and for heating and for whatever from this quantum vacuum, or how you call this, and how far is this away from that I can have this and put in my house?
Free energy is simply the implication. One of the implications of the quantum leap holography. And it's based simply upon the Maxwell law of electricity and magnetism linked together. So you can actually create via anti-parallel induction coils. You can create a specific level of magnetism that you can later transform into electricity. And it's possible, and it is done. In Russia, there are generators like this, but it is suppressed because Russia is a fossil fuel based economy.
Yeah, of course.
I myself, I simply don't do this because my area of application, right, my technologies, they simply link to other application, to other areas, to biology and medicine. So I cannot simply do everything.
No,
but,
it's good. And you are messing with the wrong people in this area, maybe. You know, it's like they are really powerful and they will put you down really fast if you come up with this.
But it's simple. You see, you can create anti-parallel, induction coils. And control this Maxwell law consequences, right, implications, and you can create such kind of a generator. And in Russia, after perestroika, after the collapse of Soviet Union, there were the entire plants working on this generator. So it's not that difficult. It is possible.
Okay, and then last question I wanted to ask you, because you have, in my view, you have a really profound knowledge about our our true history and how the genetic things and this kind of things. And I have a really big question in my mind from my own research in other areas about the RH negative thing. You know, where it's coming from and why is there, or what is this in your opinion, this RH negative people as blood type is
well all these fairy tales about reptilians, right?
Yeah, I'm tired aliens, of this
grays, tall Nordic aliens. These are all the parts of the black operation of Satanists who got collected in NASA and NSA. So NSA and NASA basically the same thing. So this is the black operation. There are no grays, no reptilians, no negative aggressive aliens who would come to this dimension and would kill all humans. And those people who create such ideas, they simply don't understand the quantum physics, the holography, the holographic laws. So this dimension, earthly dimension, is a hologram. It's a wave crystal with a specific refraction code.
But there are some evil things, you know.
Makes it unique. So when our ancestors, right, in the Middle Ages, some of our ancestors, not megalithic, but in the Middle Ages, when they were thinking in terms of making the Earth the center of the universe, unique, they were completely right. So this dimension is unique. So Earth is not a planet in the row of other planets. So you cannot say that there are planets like this. This dimension is completely unique. And when you go further from this planet, the bodies of the astronauts and the ships get destroyed because we are literally made by the electromagnetic structure of this universe. But it's not just the electromagnetic structure, it's a specific bio-hologram, specific civilization, unique civilization. And the reflection, right, goes to the center of this dimension. And this focus, zero center of our dimension, coincides with the zero center of the solar system, which is the sun. coincide with the zero center, the focus of our galaxy, and with the center of the entire universe, not just universe as this, right, some place after Big Bang, right, but the entire being. And the entities, right, matrices, they come into this dimension through the zero center, which is the absolute concentration of the absolute light, Ra. So no evil can actually come into this dimension. Only pure souls of children or pure matrices which do not have any evil can come into this dimension, because evil is the attempt to destroy the balance, the measured balance of the wave optics of the universe. And this measured balance is based upon the application of the reciprocity, boomerang principle. Everything that you do gets back on you.
Yeah, it's like the karmic law.
Yes, don't do something to the other person that you do not want to be done to yourself. Yeah, so this holographic principle is a moral law. So you can formulate this holographic principle as a moral law of Christianity or Islam or whatever. So no grace, no reptilians, no any evil, disbalanced evil, predator evil can come into this dimension.
But what about the demons from other dimension, or what, that they can influence something, or is this all bullshit?
There are no demons. You see, the idea of demons is the idea of Satanists who do not believe in the absolute light Ra, who are not Russians, who are not properly human. Only Neanderthals can believe in the ontological existence of evil. Evil do not have existence. Demons do not exist. Evil do not exist, because this absolute light, hologram, which is infinite, eternal, omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent, absolute light Ra, it is everywhere. So if you say that there is some evil, hell, you limit the absolute light. Then there is no absolute light. There is no, you call it God or Ra or anything. Absolute light. So if the absolute light Ra exists, then it exists everywhere completely. So in unity, it exists entirely. It exists completely. It cannot exist partially. It exists everywhere completely.
But there's a polarity. There is some good and bad, or not, because it's the Vedic scriptures are talking about. There are like, as the Vedas are full of these demon things. Like they, of course, they are not. I don't know, but I don't know how to understand.
These are the aberrations. Vedas that are preserved in India, they are very late scriptures, approximately 1500 BC. Patriarchal. So they are patriarchal. If something is patriarchal, then it's very recent. So Judaism, for example, is very patriarchal. This means that it's very recent. It cannot have any claims to antiquity, to ancient origin, because matriarchy was before patriarchy. Is a well-known historical fact. If you have some patriarchal structure, this means that it was created when matriarchy was transformed into patriarchy. It's approximately the middle of the Iron Age. It's 1000 BC, approximately 600, 500, and you can give it 1500, but only taking into consideration that the Vedas were literally rewritten later. And some Vedas were not even written. They were transferred via the oral tradition, and later on they were changed and corrupted. So I'll give you an example. In India, teachers are called Baba. Baba is a Russian word for matriarch, a woman. And gods are called Devi. Deva is a Russian word for a virgin. There is this Trimurti, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahman. Shiva is in Hindi. In Sanskrit, it's Siva. Siva, Sva, Svastika, Svet, light in Russian. And the second name of Shiva, Siva, is Makesh. Makesh is a Russian goddess, Makosh. Makosh is Makushka, the top of the head. So Makosh is a Russian major goddess. And our ancestors, they depicted sun as a female. And in Russian legends, woman, a bride, is a sun, and the groom is the moon. So sun is a woman, and our goddess, our great mother, was depicted, Skisian, Russian Aryan. She was depicted as a female face with the rays of light as snakes, Gargona, so-called Medusa Gargona. It was called by patriarchal Greeks, so-called Greeks. Also, it was depicted. She was depicted as a woman with her arms as snakes, with her legs as snakes. And right now in India, you can see sun as a man with a mustache. You can see it in the temples. You can see it as in the artifacts. This means that they changed later the tradition, the matriarchal tradition. So they literally corrupted the tradition. So their evil kind of demonic, their struggle between Sura gods and Asura demons, right? This is the later corruption. In Russian legends, there is no evil. Even Baba Yaga, this witch kind of figure, is not completely totally evil. So evil doesn't have ontological existence. This is the feature of the highly developed civilization. Quantum leap technological civilization. And in Tanakh, in the 38th chapter of the book of Ezekiel, in Tanakh, the Old Testament, it is spoken about the country in the north called Rosh, on the river Ra, which is more technologically advanced, more ancient, and more civilized than Judea, and from which the Tsars, the kings of Russia, are coming to Judea to punish the kings of Judea if the kings of Judea misbehave. Also in the book of Ezekiel, it is spoken about Vimana, the fiery chariot, which is always coming from the north. And in Gilgamesh, it is spoken about the country in the north, where Gilgamesh went after the death of his Neanderthal friend Enkidu. So Gilgamesh went to the north, crossed the sea, Aryan Sea, to meet with the gods of Sumer. So he went to the territory of Russia. So the Gilgamesh epos, which is considered to be the most ancient, or one of the most ancient books in the world, right? The Gilgamesh epos is speaking about Russia as the country of the gods of Sumer. And in fact, it is not Sumer, it's Samara, because in the epicenter of the Iraqi culture of Sumer, there is the Iraqi city of Samara. So if Gilgamesh went to the territory of Russia, to the north, cross the sea, right? This means that the Russian city of Samara, which is standing in the place of confluence of river Ra, Volga, and the river Samara. So this city, the Russian city of Samara, is more ancient than the Iraqi city of Samara. Also, the civilization after the flood was called Cimmerian civilization. It's very well known. Crimea, by the way, was called Cimmerian. So this means that after Diluvian civilization was in Crimea. So Cimmerian and Samarian is the same thing, because K and S are interchangeable. So Cimmerian is literally from the city of Kemerovo in Siberia. And there is the river Euphrates in Siberia. So it is clearly that this civilization got preserved. Then the antediluvian, highly technological civilization of giants was matriarchal civilization was preserved in Russia, nowhere else.
So, okay, so so what is the conclusion for the Vedic scriptures? We have to just watch the Russian fairy tales. Or
well,
what about the
there was an attempt to completely destroy this civilization, because this civilization, matriarchal civilization, was socialism. It was matriarchal socialism, meaning that people, they understood that this life is very short, 70 years in comparison with eternity, and everything that you do comes back on you. That's why they created this moral code: don't kill, don't steal, etc. And they treated this state as a big family. So no parasitism, exploitation, alienation was allowed. So all this comes later with the Neanderthal cultures that got the upper hand in the West. So all this liberal, developed so-called capitalist society, they simply Neanderthal cultures, but they did a lot to destroy all kinds of evidence. So, for example, only in Poland you can see maps in the museum that show Sclavenia of our territories. Also, they say Sarmatians were Iranians. But there are maps in Iran, by the way, that show that Sarmat is Tsar, ruling, mother. Mat is in Russian, mother. So Sarmatia, right? The land of Tsar mothers. Mat is mother in Russian, as Tsar is ruler. So the land of Sarmatia included the entire Russia, not just southern areas, the entire area of Western Russia, where there is Moscow. Also, all Eastern European countries like Slovenia, Poland, and it also included Scandinavia. And besides the epics of Gilgamesh and Tanakh, the Old Testament, there is also Old Edda that says that Swedish people were living in the great Sweden, Svitjot, in Russia, above the Aral Sea. And when the ice got molten in the north, they went to the north and founded the small Sweden, small Svitjot. So there are three major books that point to Russia as the most ancient civilization on this planet. But the point with Russia is not that it is ethnically ancient. The point is that Russians are those souls, human souls, matrix souls, that come from the absolute light, Ra, into this dimension. And when they come into this dimension, they can acquire all kinds of ethnical features. They can be narrow-eyed, black, blonde, and black-haired, you see. My mother, for example, she was Ukrainian, so-called, right? There are no Ukrainians, but simply she was from that part of Russia. Ukraine was called Mala Russia, small Russia. And she was olive-skinned. She had black brows, dark hair. And my father was from the north of Russia, so she had blonde hair, blue eyes. And it's normal. And Chinese, for example, they are also one of the Scythian tribes. And they preserved the same culture, Scythian culture, as we have, all of us have. Swastikas, dragons, of these fiery falcons, griffons, firebirds, these patterns looking like clouds of fire and deer horns. And dragon, right? Dragon is simply deer in Russian. Deer, дорогая. Dragana. Dragana in Serbian, and дорогая, it's dear, loved one. This is what dragon means. And on the flags of Serbians, we see dragons. And Serbians were true Romans. This true Roman Empire, Byzantium, was the empire for 1,000 years. And it was founded by Serbians. Constantine was a Serbian. His mother, Elena, was a Serbian. And the name of the city is Constantinople. So Greeks were adding their suffixes, is. So for example, we say Aristotle. Aristotle means Ari, Aryan. Sto means 100, tel means bodies. So an Aryan from the clan of 100 members. When the clan has 100 members, you cannot destroy this clan, this family. So you can become aristocrat. Only if you are from the family of 100 members. Aristocrat means Ari, Aryan, sto means 100, krat means numbered. Aryan numbered 100 times, 100 members. So we say Aristotle, and Greeks who came later after us, Scythians, they are saying Aristotelis. So this city, Constantinople, is not Constantinopolis, it's Constantinople, the same as Simferopol, Sevastopol in Crimea, Petropol, Nikopol, all over Russia to Belarus. You have the cities with the ending pol. Pol is the agricultural field in Russian. So this civilization was the agricultural civilization. Three polia, three fields, one field under grain, another field under grass for cattle, and third field resting. And our ancestors, they were migrating all across Eurasia because the soil got exhausted. So every 70, 80 years, they moved and changed the location. That's why it was pointless to have the private property on land. And Archaim, our ancient city in the southern Urals, demonstrate this round city, swastika-shaped city with two rows of sectors. And each sector, it was a big sector, housed a big clan of 30 to 40 people. I would say even maybe 100 people, if two sectors together. So precisely these aristocratic clans of many members. And archaeologists didn't find any property division between these clans. So to be able to preserve quantum leap technologies, you should be socially advanced. So if people do not have this social structure, advanced social structure, socialism, matriarchal socialism, they cannot do these technologies. So it's not only food, eat organic, or drink mineral water, because this reverse osmosis water is as dangerous as genetically modified food. It's not simply exercise, yoga, and preserving wave matrices. It's also social structure.
Yeah, and so, how we can develop this, because we have to start with something to make first we have to teach, we have to give the knowledge, and then there have to be people coming together wanted to do this. Like, for example, this Anastasia movement, I think you know, from Russia, they get connected by an idea and they start to live together in a totally different way, you know. And we have to do something similar with these matrix cities. Also we have to start maybe with matrix village, because city is really big. You know, we have to start small with small seeds of this idea and with the knowledge and with the, of course, backed with the technology. And we have to teach. We have to teach the children that they grow with this, that it's natural for them to think like this. And yeah, so we have to start at some point. I don't know how, but
well, we can start a virtual matrix city on the internet.
Yeah, something like we have to grow the idea to start with the virtual space, and we put this blockchain. We create like a web community with this structure and with this hierarchy, also with this organ, also it's like the, also that's the big question: if democracy, monarchy, or what is the right structure, of the thing? Also like socialism, also not communism, but socialism. I grow in a socialist state, also I grow in, but was not real socialism. I think it was just subversion.
Division and communism we have in the family. Why they want to destroy the family? Because in the family we have communism. Communism is the communal share of private things. When you can share bed with your husband or wife, this is communism.
Yeah, so this is the right thing, but it has a really bad name because this satanic people or this they miss.
We just call them Neanderthals.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are destroyed this idea of communism by doing it really bad. To make it a really bad publicity on this. Everybody who now thinks of communism is thinking of millions of starving people and dying and like dictatorship. It's not nothing else compared. So it has a really bad name. So we have to give a different name, maybe that the people are not afraid to connect to this because it's
matriarchy. The name is matriarchy. You should not think up the name because it is already there. It's matriarchy. And matriarchy doesn't mean feminism. It means
they destroy as well this feminist thing.
The man and woman is the woman, but woman is respected enough, and she has soft power in the family. That's what is matriarchy.
Yeah. This is a really bad thing. This feminist movement and this is fucking up all the thing, But they know because they create this, to destroy this. As well, they did with Hitler and the swastika. You are not allowed to wear anymore. It's like if I go out now like this, I would be the Nazi because I'm a German. You are not a German. You can maybe easier wear this, but I can't. Because I will be directly called. And I will be. Also in Germany, I will go to jail. Just for. So.
Yes, they want to do the same thing to the family. And the same thing to the woman. They want to destroy woman. This struggle between so-called Greeks and Amazon women that ended up with Greeks becoming pedophilic and retarded. Because if you take Scythian language, we had 49 letters. And Greeks, they only have 24. So it's was the great impoverishment of culture when the Greeks went totally patriarchal and denied women anything in their culture.
Okay, I think we have 2 hours already almost, so we can maybe stop for today because it was really interesting, and maybe we will have another interview in someday. But thank you for your time and for your knowledge, and I really think we have to start to do something because, of course, we have to publish this technology, and we have to make more people aware of this. But in the core, we have to develop on this social structure, on the knowledge of this holographic things, because it's more important in the holistic way, as in every part of life and every part of. So the people have something else. Like it's not cannot be a religion. It's like a spiritual movement, because it's something true, And the people are tired of religions, and they are tired of dogmas and this kind of thing, and they are searching for some spiritual truth, and we have to give them some opportunity to live in a different way and to feel better with living like this, because if you live the truth, if it's really true and if it's good, you will feel good. And if the technology help us to be good and to prevent our children from, or from our offspring from getting sterile total. So we have to do something because it's really important. And I think you have children as well, like me, and we have to act now because the time is late and we have to do something. And I'm trying to help with my website now to give you a bigger how is the name? A bigger
exposure.
Yeah, a bigger crowd of people listening to you, because I think you are really a good source to listen to, as we miss teachers, as good teachers. They are giving us.
Mother of three, so I have a very strong motherly instinct.
So yeah, and I think we have to come back to a matriarchal. I can feel really well with this because women are always more emotional and careful and like the patriarchal. So the women have to gain back their power they deserve, and not in this feministic way they try to do this now to make them equal, because we are not equal, and this is both have their strong abilities, and we have to use.
Women need strong men.
Huh?
Women need strong men.
Yeah, and we need strong women.
Male and female should be female.
It's the union of both that makes the difference, I think. So. Okay, Irene, then thank you for your time, and it was nice to talk to you, and greetings to Russia, and all the best.
Thank you for this opportunity. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.